Right. It says it's loading. It says it's setting up. Sometimes it does live stream before that happens. All right. It looks like we're live. Hello. Hello. Hello from Boise. I have had a really, really long day. I woke up super early in Orlando, where I live, and I took a 7 a.m. flight out to LAX and then to Boise because I'm going to a mastermind tomorrow and then a 2 day conference for creators and podcasters and YouTubers and bloggers. So um, even though I'm really tired, I wanted to start working on this new course about building dashboards with Copilot. So I was like, let me make up the pretend data set. I worked on that on the plane a little bit. Let me make the mock dashboard. Let me see how Copilot can help along the way. And then I was like, well, duh, maybe you want to watch a dashboard being created in Excel from start to finish. I think that my Tuesday night, tired, like 4 hours of sleep. What did my watch say I got for a sleep score? I got a 49, 49 sleep score. I think I can do this in an hour or less from start to finish. So it's 7:06 p.m. now, Boise time. Let's see. Let's see what I can do by 8, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Okay. Let me show you where I started though, because this is fascinating to me. I love this. Okay. I want to show you my my Excel. Okay. Let me move all this. I'm used to my two screens. Let's see. Hide. Okay, perfect, perfect. So on the plane, on one of the flights today, I started brainstorming like this whole homework list of everything that you would need to know to make dynamic dashboards in Excel, which is a lot. So, okay, like at a glance, it's supposed to be this easy. It's supposed to be like you have your data set that goes into a pivot table. And then your pivot table goes into a pivot chart. And then your chart goes into a slicer. And then when you want a second chart, you just loop back around. There's the little loop-de-loop. You make a second pivot table, you make a second pivot chart, you link it to the existing slicer. When you want a third chart, you make a third pivot table, a third pivot chart, you link it to the existing slicer. And then it's supposed to be that easy. That's the part I'm going to try to do for you in an hour or less. And then you make it all look good. Like you make it all come together with dashboard design and chart formatting and text hierarchy and arrangement. Okay. So it's like at a glance, it's really just these four pieces: a data set linked to pivot tables, linked to pivot charts, linked to a couple slicers. But of course, there's nuances to that. Like it's easy to link all those if you know the ins and outs of all these. This is not even an exhaustive list. I remember typing, I was typing this at the layover at the like little coffee shop table. Okay, so then on the plane, I started creating a pretend data set. And I was like, what data set do I want to use for this course that I'm building? And I was like, let me do like a sales dashboard. Let me do car sales. My husband loves cars. I tolerate cars. Like let me make a sales data set. So I started thinking of all the categories. And this is where you could see like I'm not into cars. I just labeled all the cars that I've ever owned in my life since 16-year-old Anne bought a Mustang back then. And then I feel like I'm forgetting something. What do we have now? We have a Challenger. Yeah, like this so now you're seeing my jet lagged brain. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's getting worse. Okay. So this was a really boring data set. And then I was like, should I make like the country of the sale? I just listed my family's names as the salespeople. I played around with region. I was like, maybe Alex and I, that's my husband, maybe we work in the northern. Anyway, this data set was not coming together because I just couldn't list like good enough makes and models of cars to make this interesting. I started feeding these into pivot tables on the plane just to like think of some easy breakdowns. Maybe I have one more here. I started like the bare bones of a dashboard. And then when I got on internet again, I was like, I can't, I don't want to, I just hate making up data sets. It's my least favorite thing in the world. It holds me back so much. So I was like, duh, I should use Copilot to do this for me. So I told Copilot that I was making a course and I already knew what I wanted. I wanted like a thousand rows. I wanted it to be one row per sale or purchase. I knew what I wanted the columns to be, etc. They gave me a little sample. This was in like, seconds. And I was like, yes, that's what I want. I want more makes and models, more countries, more pretend salespeople. That is perfect. And then I wanted the data set bigger. And I think this was at like 6:20. It's 7:11 p.m. now. So it's been working on this for 40 minutes. So Copilot, not so great at generating fake dashboard, fake data. And then I went over to ChatGPT, which I've used many, many times with good luck to create fake data sets for training purposes. I copied and pasted the exact same prompt. And within seconds, it was like, here's your data set. And then I forgot to ask it about sales prices, which like I knew I wanted. I knew I wanted some country about cost. I hadn't thought through yet whether I wanted gross revenue, net revenue, profit margin, but I knew I wanted cost in there because I want to teach people about pivot tables with counts and sums and thinking through what they want their units to be and percentages of sales and percentages of the counts, percentages of the sums. So I did know I wanted sales price. And Copilot couldn't make that at all. It's still, I don't know if I need to just like keep reloading this. I've asked a few times. I talked to the speaker. I don't know. And then ChatGPT was like, cool, like, don't you want sales price? That might be helpful. And I'm like, yes, of course. And then it gives me the Excel file. And then it even suggests, do you want help building a sample dashboard layout or some prompts? And I was like, heck, why not? Why not? Let's see what it can do for me. And it didn't give me the dashboard, but it gave me ideas of things to look at, which is like exactly what I would have taught people in the course anyway. Like start with the overview of high level stats, and then basically just go through each column, the country column, the salespeople column, the sales trends over time, the date column, the make and model breakdown. These are nested. It's a category with subcategory. Like this is very simple to people who make dashboards all day, every day, like I do. But for somebody getting started, I feel like this would save them so much time. Okay, so that is the context. Now it's 7:13. I'm going to try to make this dashboard from start to finish, not with my pretend data set, but with ChatGPT's pretend data set. So I'm going to stop talking to you, or maybe I should keep talking through my thought process. I'll keep talking through my thought process. Okay, so here's the 1,000-row ChatGPT data set. And yes, it did give me exactly 1,000. Okay, so let's go over here and delete the data set I made. Oh, this is going to screw up some other things. That's okay. I don't need drop-down menus anymore. And I'm going to start from scratch with the pivot tables. You have to be so careful deleting sheets because you can't get them back. Okay. You can't say like undo and they come back. This is undoing the other Excel file. All right, let's grab this, Control Shift down, Control C to copy, go over to my file, Control V to paste, rename the sheet to stay organized. I'm going to call this data set. And what's some basic formatting we want to do here? Make the columns wider with a little tap. Maybe, I don't know, maybe left align stuff, left align, right align, doesn't really matter. Maybe make this dollars so my brain can look at it better. I like currency with pennies hidden. I'm not a fan of the accounting format. It's just not my preferred one. And let's turn this into an Excel table to make it easier to append, to make it easier to add new rows. Is this my data set A1 through G 1001? Yep, it sure is. We're going to rename the table to stay organized. I'm not creative when it comes to making up data sets. I'm purposely not creative when it comes to table names and sheet names. We're just going to call this data set. Okay. And I think this looks good. I asked for dates from 2010 to 2025. I asked for makes and models. It gave me way more than I could have come up with on my own. It gave me, I'm hoping, I wonder if these are accurate. I mean, Ford Mustang, yeah. I think that's correct. That sounds correct. I think so. Again, I'm not a car person. Ford Explorer, that was my that I drove a 10-year-old Ford Explorer in high school, back and forth to track practice. Honda Pilot's correct. Yeah, I think these are correct. I think these are, it doesn't matter. This isn't a like car dashboard course. It's a how to make dashboards course. So if there happens to be an inconsistency, whatever. I asked for salespeople in last first. It looks like it gave me a ton. I asked for at least 20 different countries so that my course wouldn't be too US centric. I tried to include lots of geographic and cultural variety when I can. Sales price in USD, profit margin USD. Okay, this looks great. Let's add a bunch of pivot tables. Insert pivot table. The first one is going to go in a new worksheet. We're going to order this so we go nice and methodical in our workflow. The data set into a bunch of pivot tables, probably some helper tables in there, into pivot charts, into a dashboard with slicers. We're going to rename this one to stay organized. And I'm going to add a bunch of labels up at the top for future Anne. Future Anne, with future Anne at this point knows how these are organized because I organize all my dashboard files the same way. But maybe for you, this is nice. And for the course that I'm making about this would be helpful. Okay. Pivot tables. There's going to be a bunch of them. I don't know, five-ish, maybe 10. One pivot table per chart or KPI. And we might need some helper tables, like to make a map. You can't have a pivot table directly into a map. You have to have a little intermediate step. I'm going to show you the ugly default charts because I want to compare those side by side to the beautiful big A accessible and little a accessible formatted charts. And the only way to sell you on these is to put them beside these nasty ones. So that's the thought process there. If I keep talking to you while I do this, though, I won't finish by 8 o'clock, will I? Okay. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. What are we going to drag and drop first? Let's go nice and methodical. Let's do some dates. And what's our juicy variable we care about? Sales price or profit margin? Profit margin, right? Wouldn't somebody looking at a bunch of car sales for all of their salespeople, they would care about profit margin? I'm trying to think of what's like the juicy variable. Is it number of vehicles? Is it the dollar amount of vehicles, gross sales price, gross sales, or is it net? It's really net. Everybody brags about gross. That doesn't matter. Gross doesn't matter. It's net. Net is what makes a difference. Or profit margin for this lingo. Okay. That's good. That's good enough for the first one. Let's insert do we want to do a line? Do we want to do one line always looks so lonely to me. Usually if there's a line, I do a area chart instead. This is the ugly one, which we will format later, time permitting. Okay, let's name this to stay organized. We're going to call this year. And do we want to do a regular slicer or a timeline slicer? Or both? Or both? Both. We want both. Let's add these. I'm gonna do we add them to the chart or the table? I want to be consistent in the whole dashboard. Slicers and timeline slicers can go to Excel tables, pivot tables, or pivot charts. But sometimes I run into issues when it's like one of the slicers I'm trying to connect to a chart, but then the other one I need to link to a pivot table or something. And like just keeping the source of the slicers the same is really important. I'm probably gonna not have all pivot charts because I want to make a map. I'm gonna link them to the table. Okay. Insert slicer. Let's do the timeline one first, which is going to be slightly redundant at first because it's going to slice this graph by time. but the graph is already by time. But the thing is, like, I want to show people, I want to give people the option of all this historical data, but then I want to be able to like let them zoom in more, maybe just look at the most recent sales. So would they want to look by months or quarters? Let's not keep them too in the weeds. Let's maybe do quarters. Yeah. Let's move this over here. Let's start building in the you know what? A lot of times I build dashboards with it's like all the slicers are over there. And then maybe I have like a chart here and a chart here and a chart here, kind of like a little quadrant layout. But for this one, this timeline slicer is so wide. I think it needs to go up at the top. Yeah, let's put it up at the top. Let's do all the slicers up here. What's this going to be called? Our sales dashboard. Something simple, right? And this is a title. Does it even need to be called dashboard or is that so obvious? Car sales is good. Do I want to have the word explore? I think so. Maybe like that. Maybe like that. Because the thing is, look, this guy is going to be wide, super wide, like that wide, potentially. Okay. I'm gonna edit this more the look and feel of it. I'm gonna leave that all for the end. I'm gonna get the structure of it right while my brain is still fresh. I'm gonna get the bones of it while my brain is still fresh because I can format charts in my sleep. So that I'm gonna leave to the end when I'm dusty. Okay, what else are we doing here? Like this might get smaller. Okay, step in. Don't do this yet. What else are we going to slice and dice by? Um, Copy. Maybe it's like this. Maybe I have some KPIs on the side. I don't know. TBD. Something like that. Does the slicer work? This is so long. Maybe I should have asked it for sales, not since 2010. Would any like car dealership or car manufacturer want to look that historical? I don't even know if they'd be able to because they wouldn't have sales. They would use different databases over time. It would be very hard for them to get that data. Maybe I should just make it over the past 5 years. I work on so many government data sets that do have longitudinal data, but a lot of companies don't, and they wouldn't need to go that far back. Let's change the data set. Let's just make it the past 5 years. Okay. Let me figure out. Let's just start January 1st, 2020. But then that's weird because like would we expect a dip for COVID? No, it's just fake data. Who cares about that? Yeah, let's just do should we do 2021? Let's do 2021. Let's do 2021 through 2025. 1/1/2021. 12/31/2025. This is going to be our date range. And these dates in Excel's Bible are called these numbers. So I'm going to rand between those two, between this and this. And I'm purposefully linking them. So if I change my mind later, it's like it's easy. Oh no. Oh no. Why didn't this do it? Um, and between those. Is it because it's an Excel table? Maybe I just do need to type them in by hand. Maybe that'll, yeah. I don't want to spend all my time making up a data set. 4, 2, 3, 6. Yeah. No, that doesn't work. Oh, because it's telling me it's giving me a number. I don't care if it's a number. Um, Maybe I need to untable this. And now try rand between. Why is that not working? Number error. Rand between 44197 Oh, because this date is because they're listed in the wrong order. Duh, Anne. Okay. Not currency. What are these dates? Oh, because I made a typo. Urgh. Okay, let's try again. Let's rand between what is this number? What are these numbers? 46022. 46022. We'll pretend we have some sales in the future. Why not? And you know what? I can't change my mind on this again. It just doesn't matter that much. Okay. Copy, paste the values, turn this back into a table. I thought that might be the issue with it. Rename it. Data set. And recolor it because I just made it really ugly when I did my tap tap. Can't have it be ugly. It needs to be formatted consistently like this. This one was it? Whatever the default is, that one. That's the default. Okay, that's fine. Great. All right, let's refresh. That's better. Would I still do a area chart? I don't love area charts when they are not very many points in time. Hmm. Maybe I will graph years. I have to think about this. Should I graph quarters and slice by years or vice versa? Graph by quarters, slice by years. Let's do another one because the date one is the hardest for my brain to think about. Because this is a fictional scenario. I don't know what somebody would need to look at. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do a should we do some like KPIs? We should do some higher level KPIs, right? Higher level meaning overviews. We will come back to you. Let's see. You always want to leave at least 20 rows of breathing room in between your pivot tables in case you change what goes into rows and columns and they expand. Excel gets very angry if they overlap. Let's do a high level one, not by date. Throw you away, throw you away, away. Let's do, yeah, this is good. This is like, we'll call this a KPI. That's not lingo I use. I usually say overview. I don't know, KPI, whatever. KPI, profit margin. And another one would be by, oh, it's worried it's going to overlap. By sale price. And those aren't in the right order, I don't think. And when we want to know like how many vehicles are sold, I think that's another high level one. How many vehicles, total price, profit margin. Those are the juicy ones. Um, no, no, no. Let's do count. 1,000. Oh yeah, duh. Because I told it 1,000. I was like, why is it an even number? Because I made it up. Okay, that's fine. 1,000 is a good, you always want to have nice round numbers for people taking online courses because it just makes it easier for the newbies. API number of vehicles, sales price, profit margin. Okay, that's good. I don't know where we're going to put these. Here? This is not my normal setup. Let me keep the normal setup. Okay. We will deal with this timeline slicer being squashed later. Where should we put some KPIs? Uh, like, I don't know, maybe right here? A direct link. Number of vehicles sold. And comma, no decimals. I'm not going to merge anything till the very end. Okay. I have to have restraint. Freeze. Let's freeze those. Freeze here. Okay. Number of vehicles sold. And what's another one? It is sum of sales price, total sales. I think gross sales, is that car manufacturer lingo? I think that's universal lingo. And what's our next one? Profit margin. Okay, let's think about more slicers to add, and let's link this one to the ones I just made. Oh, they are okay. Okay, perfect. They are linked. I think because I didn't insert brand new pivot tables, I copied pasted the pivot tables, which I usually do on autopilot. What is pivot table 5? Oh, that's the one that I didn't finish yet. Okay, that is, so we've got these. So far, so good. Count, sales price, profit margin, by time, and then what's our next logical thing to want to know? We would want to know, let's get rid of this. And would we want to know all these by profit margin? Yeah. Yeah, because gross versus net is really what matters. Profit margin is really what matters. So let's do one by make and model. Those get to be nested because that's a very natural nesting. That's a very natural category, subcategory situation. The only problem with this is it is going to be the ugliest unreadable chart in the whole world. Look at that. Oh, so enter the helper table. It's only 7:30. I think I have time to make a helper table. Let me just highlight what I'm gonna do because I can also make that in my sleep. Okay, that's gonna need a helper because then this will be formatted better. Let's label this one, and this is make model. Perfect. Don't overthink it. Let's do another. Um, would I want to know dollar amount or just by percent? Percent, right? Because like how much is 405,000? 405,000. 405,000. That's not right. How much is this compared to that much? Usually the rule of thumb is if it's a small n, less than 100 things, people, cars, dollars, small n, you show the n. Big N, over 100, you just convert it to percentages. Let's do percentages. I think my previous boss, Helene, who taught me that rule, I think she would vote for percentages in this case. Let's do percentages. Okay, so set up a sum. Let's show values as a percent of grand. percent of grand total. Yes. Okay. I think this is better. I think that is more, but are these also small that they almost don't matter? Hmm. Should this be a hmm or a sunburst? Is it a sunburst? Because it's a part to whole situation. And then you can see the proportions. A sunburst looks like this. I think easier to read than a tree map typically. It kind of depends how many slices. Because if you get too many different slices, like too many different makes and models in this case, Excel doesn't add all the labels. Okay. We time permitting, we'll try both. The sunbursts and tree maps also do not link directly from pivot tables. They also need helpers. Look, because if you try them, where are you? We're going to get an error. It's like, you can't do it. You can't do it. So same thing with sunburst right here. Nope, doesn't work. So we're going to need a helper table either way. Let's keep going with the easy stuff. What else is some easy stuff? Is there anything easy in here? I keep running into like little like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this. I bet I could knock out an easy one. Okay. Would I want to graph? Throw away, throw away. Um, would I want to graph by salesperson or would the salesperson be a slicer? The salesperson go in the graph or would the salesperson be a slicer? Um, if the salesperson goes in the graph, like imagine like one bar chart per salesperson, it helps you directly compare them, which a supervisor, somebody at the higher up org chart, would want to directly compare them because they'd want to like reward their better salespeople and they'd want to provide coaching to the ones who weren't selling as many cars, etc. So why would you ever put it in a slicer? Because if you put salesperson in slicers, you'd only see one salesperson or a few of them because you can do check all that apply in slicers at a time. And then you could provide like their individual report to them. But I guess for this fictional scenario, I was thinking the audience was more higher ups. Yeah, salespeople need to go in the chart, not in the slicer. Let's do that. So salespeople in the chart. And how many pretend salespeople do we have? Hopefully some of them are repeated. Yeah, we have 995 people selling 1,000 cars. That is not real life. I maybe should have told ChatGPT a little different about this. Let's sort by country. Okay. Let's pretend that Dennis Aguilar sold a bunch of cars in Argentina. And so did Christine Fox. And so did, these are not culturally correct names for these locations necessarily. So did Anthony McCarthy. And in Australia, Catherine Anderson sold a bunch. So did Mackenzie Johnson. And in Brazil, it was like this person, Martin and Beth and John and Annette. Okay, this is more like real life, don't you think? Although would they be working there? Yeah, because yes, they would be working there over that span because I already shortened the time frame. Let's see. These are things I just didn't know that I wanted in advance from ChatGPT. I knew I wanted, not just 10 rows. I knew I wanted like 1,000 rows to be able to play around with, but I didn't know how many salespeople. I knew I wanted like variety of country, Anyway, you get it. Okay. In Canada, let's pretend we got Susan Avery. doing a great job. Veronica's doing a great job. Who else is working in Canada? We've got James, sold a few cars. Okay, China, these are not Chinese names. We're gonna ignore that from now. It's interesting though that ChatGPT only gave me white people names. In other data sets, I have asked for give me Asian American names, give me Vietnamese American names, give me Filipino American names, and it's done a pretty decent job of knowing like first and last names that are typical to those places. But the default is white American names here. Well, I guess I just saw Gutierrez in there too. Is that because it knows I'm in Boise, Idaho right now? Or is that the default it gives to everybody all around the world because it's biased? Um, I don't know. Okay. Oh my gosh. Am I done yet? I'm only on like thing 300. Did it give me any varieties of countries? South, Australia, South. It's spelled Brazil with a Z. I usually change it to an S. North, Asia, Africa. I panicked when I saw two European countries in a row. Central Asia. Of course, it did France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Mexico. It didn't do much of Africa. Um, okay. I think I just pulled her too far. Okay, this is super boring. I can do that later because I can refresh, and adjust my pretend data set anytime. That's not going to have much effect on the types of charts that I make. Okay, except this list won't be that long. So I guess it actually will affect the types of charts I'm gonna make. Okay, so another to-do list thing for me. Oh, it's 7:43. I don't want to be making up fake data sets. This is so boring. I hate doing this. Let me just make a note to myself and create and adjust data set fewer sales people because each person would have sold multiple cars. Duh, because that would be more real life. Okay, and then this is going to be an unreadable bar chart in the meantime. And would you sort it alphabetically or would you sort it greatest to least? I think you'd do greatest to least because I think you'd want to know who your top sellers are. I think who's selling the most would have priority over like what is Cheryl Abbott versus Luke Bell doing. I think this column is more important. So let's do a right click, sort. We're going to sort it upside down, anticipating Excel's somersault like that. Are these like nothing? Let me add another decimal there. Okay, great. Maybe percentages here aren't helpful because they're so small that they're meaningless. But once I have fewer people, even if I have 100 salespeople selling 1,000 cars, what would their percentage be? Like 10%? I don't think percents are helpful here. I think this is going to be dollars. I think dollars is yeah, I think dollars is the right unit here. Show values as a no calculation. Great, that's better. Taylor Turner only making their car dealership $999. That's okay. This is pretend. Let's see. Now we are sorted greatest down to least. This chart would not be that long when it's done because it's going to have a slicer someplace else. I think the only one I need to make still is a map and then add another slicer or two. Let's do the thing is, I'm kind of like debating, do I want to have a bunch of charts, but very few slicers, like just a timeline slicer? Or do I want to have three charts, these three, and have a bunch of slicers? There's so many things that go into dashboards. Um, it is also like the slicers is deciding what gets sliced versus graph because you don't want them to be redundant. You've got like two options. One, this is tiny. You can't see this, can you? Let me make this bigger for you. Okay. Um, few slicers, lots of graphs, or lots of slicers, few graphs. Which version do I want to show you first? I think I want to make the few graphs. I want to make the few graphs version where I would just have really three graphs. Or do I want to make the few slicer? Maybe I just want to do a timeline slicer. This is so tricky because the redundancy here that we have to be careful with for this particular example, it's the time. Like, does time go in a slicer and or the graph? It's also the geography. I really want to have a map. That's just like a personal, I just want to show you how to make a map, not from the pivot table to the map, but with a helper with lookups in between. So maybe that people also get really excited about dashboards with maps because they're used to seeing just this really boring stuff. There's just big numbers. It's just a big font size. And when they see something else like a map or a sunburst diagram, they're like, what? That's amazing. That's the coolest thing I ever saw. So that would be an argument that gets people to sit up straight in their chair and pay attention and look at the numbers and think about the numbers. So that would be an argument for putting um for having few slicers. Timeline only, maybe? Maybe it's only the timeline. Maybe it's just a timeline slicer. Let me try that one. Let's highlight that one because that one is what I'm going to make first. I think that's a winning layout. I'd have to like sleep on this for a while. Yeah, maybe it's just the timeline. Maybe I'm going back to the initial layout. Let's just get all the graphs in here though. Let's get all the graphs in here. Then we'll format them some more. I want to finish this in 11 minutes. Um, let me put this one over here just as a placeholder of like just roughly, let's see what we've got by salesperson. And oh, I need like a make and model, right? Make and model. That is, I don't think I have a chart for that yet. Yeah, I do have an ugly chart. Let's put that in as a placeholder. Just so we can kind of see like how many we're gonna have. And then what am I missing? I am missing the geography. Did I label this one or did I name it? I mean, sales person. And, ooh, you know what else I want to add here? I want to add dynamic takeaway sentences. For example, number of salespeople, stuff like that. Okay. You don't know what that means, but I do. I hope. I hope that's enough of a note to jog future Anne's memory. Okay, this one, is this our last one? Country, go away, go in. It would still be profit margin, right? This data set is obviously super pretend from ChatGPT plus Anne's tinkering, but in a perfect world, you'd have two maps side by side because you might see a high number of vehicles being sold in Southeast Asia and Africa and South America, where there's a low cost of the cars. You might see a high number of vehicles being sold there. You wouldn't see a high number of new vehicles being sold necessarily. Maybe it's more used. You might want to have two maps, small multiples, the count of vehicles and the profit margin of the vehicles, because I think you would see different patterns that layering those on one map together, Excel can't really do. And it gets super ugly. I have like other YouTube videos about why a two variable map is crap and why you should really just have small multiples instead to make sense of it. Would we want, we maybe we'd want them both side by side. Yeah, I think we would. Okay, that's another like write a note to yourself, Anne. Okay, two maps, small multiples, one for counts, one for profit margin. Okay. Oof, that's such a fun idea. Oh, that's such a fun one. Okay. What are we doing here? So we can't insert a map directly because Excel's going to say, you can't do it. When it says this, I think of the Jurassic Park guy who says, So what we're going to do is we're going to build a helper. And let me make sure I shouldn't have any filter. Do I have any filters on? Let me just X out of this. Okay, great. So let's get a list of all the countries in our data set right here. And we're going to call this country, and then we're going to do a profit margin. Actually, I should just copy this exactly so future Ann knows what I'm looking at. And then we're just going to do a lookup. Isn't this as simple as a lookup? X, V, index match. We're just doing a simple lookup. We're looking up that name in this column, and then we're returning this profit margin. Does it matter if these are sorted? No, because I'm going to map them. And add some dollars all around. For the F? No, before the F doesn't. Well, maybe because maybe I'll do counts. And then sometimes based on where the slicer is, not all these countries are going to show up. So I need to do an if not found. If it's not found, that means it's zero, right? Like if Argentina wasn't in the list because it was sliced, zero profit margin. Format these as a number that doesn't burn my eyeballs, like that. Now turn these into the data geography format and hope that the hotel internet is good enough to make a map. But if the hotel internet is good enough for Zoom live streamed onto YouTube, we should be okay. Let's see. Oh, oh. You know what? I was looking down at my phone and when this one is a geography type, the lookup no longer works. So let's undo geography type. Okay. Our map, I think, will work even without it being geography type. Let's see. Highlight, insert a map, cross your fingers, load, load, load. Yes, there we go. Woohoo. Okay, there's the default chart. I'm gonna highlight that just so I usually do this. So I remember which cells feed into my chart. That's the default. And should we start formatting? Oops, where'd my cells go? I meant to push you over there. Should we start formatting? 5 minutes left in my made up timeline. Copy, paste. Where are we pasting you? Are we having a 4x4? Yeah. Let's do view, unfreeze the panes. Move all these down, down, down. Insert, 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 insert. Move the timeline up here. Give it the width that it has to have. Has to have at least that much. Move this down, 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 down. Okay. And that doesn't, this is a funny waste of space over here. Okay. Maybe this all gets, I don't know. We'll figure that out. Okay. Highlight this one so it stands out. KPIs going across the top. Did I not label this one yet? Is there not a heading? There it is. What do we want here, 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 here? Is this now going to be redundant with that? Um, I'm going to choose one will be quarters, the others will be years. This should be quarters. That should be years. Because then the graph, if they just choose 1 year, the graph will have at least 4 points in time. I don't want a graph that's empty. Let's do years. They can only select, they have to at least select a year. Oh, darn. And then Excel has a memory. I hate when it does this. Did I not refresh? Maybe I didn't refresh. It has a memory and it knows that at one point the data had 2010 data in it. Boo. I'll fix that later. Problem for another day. Okay. Problem for a second work session. This is going to be called country. Did I refresh everything? I can't remember if I just did. Okay, that's refreshed. And is everything connected to my timeline? Yeah. 3 KPIs, 4 graphs. Perfect. Everything worked as it should. Over time, make and model by salesperson, by country. I don't know what order. The salesperson graph could be really, really long. So that might need, and so could this one. Those need some height. It's not going to be 2x2. It's just not going to fit like that. It's going to be 2x2. This graph does not need a lot of height. This does not necessarily need a lot of height. I would love for them all to fit though, on a screen. I'm on such a little laptop screen though right now. So it's hard to design, for a big screen and a little screen at the same time. Um, does everything slice? Let's check on that. That moved. Oh, this has to be quarters. Duh. Where's my time up here? Oh, I've got 2 minutes left in my made up time frame. This needs to be, okay, let's open this. I got to make more space. Insert a lot of blanky blanks. This is going to be opened up. It's going to go by quarter. Does this automatically go by quarter? Yes. Do we want the people to scroll up and down or left and right? TikTok is up and down. So your thumb goes bloop, 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 bloop. Instagram is left and right. What is it on a desktop computer? What do people prefer? Up and down? Left and right? We're going to have to scroll. Not everything's going to fit on this screen, which is not a big deal at all. We should do, I don't know, let's just do like left and right. The layout can't be finalized until each of the graphs is finalized. You know what though? This is not bad for the first you know, spending 30 minutes getting the pivot tables and graphs and spending 15 minutes talking to you, spending 15 minutes fiddling with the data set. I think this is pretty decent for for the skeleton of it. I kind of want to think about the layout some more before I format these. Is this not working now? That moves. Why does that not show? That should show at least quarters, should it not? Oh, because I have to open all these. Okay, I understand. Yeah, gotta open them all. Um, that's an option someplace. Options, or is it under design? I think it's under design. Subtotals, grand totals. There's something about turning the toggles on or off. Um, it must be under options then. Toggle, toggle, toggle. Display. Do not show them. Just keep them open. Nope, okay, that doesn't keep them open. That only decides if they show or not. So I have to show them all. There's got to be a choice in here. Expand. I don't want to expand that one though. I want to expand all of these. Expand entire field? No. Oh, this one. Expand to quarters. I mean, it already is. Okay. Now the pivot table is fully expanded. So the chart is expanded and can be contracted. I wonder if I delete this timeline slicer. Oops. Cell's saving funny. Maybe if I delete the timeline slicer and re-add it, it will show my new condensed time frame. I think. Should we do a little cleanup? Like, see what we can do in like 3 minutes per graph? Let me set my timer. Hold myself to my own made-up timelines. Timeline, 3 minutes per graph? Yeah, okay, let's go. I'm gonna turn the volume up so we can all hear it. Declutter. I'll zoom in so you can see this better. Oh, not that far. Okay. Declutter, remove the buttons, remove the outline. Should we make it legible? At least size 11, not puny little hard to read gray, but black. Should it be a line chart now? Should it be a line chart? Mm, or that's too zigzaggy. That looks ugly. I take back what I said about this. Should it be 2 lines? Net and gross. It should be 2 lines. That would be more interesting because I feel like one puny little line is so plain. Okay, I'm eating into my formatting time, but this is how it works in real life, right? You just edit, edit, edit. Okay, one puny little line versus can we drag a second variable into here? Sale price. Does it matter if it comes first or second? I don't think so. Will this automatically feed into the graph? Are these going to be such different amounts that one line is down here and one line's up here? Maybe, maybe. I might regret doing this one. Yeah, because if you just show net profit margin, people are going to say, but we sold more cars than that. Also, if you just show sales price, people are going to be like, but like me, right? I'm going to be like, but really, net is what matters. Profit margin is what matters. So let's just show them both. Yeah, That's a more interesting chart than what we had before. One lonely line feels like not enough context. This feels better. That feels better. More useful. It feels more useful is what I'm trying to say. Delete those, add these. These should be condensed into millions, problem for another round of editing. And we don't need to have all those increments. Maybe every million is enough. Let's add a gray line on the side. Let's add some tick marks. And should we get rid of some of these? Yeah, there's too many. But then you can't tell which year is which. Um, Undo. Can I just get rid of some of them? Do I want to add? I need to add a legend, don't I? I'm going to put the legend up top. Uh-oh, time's up. Add 1 minute. And I don't want this to say all of this. I want it to just say profit margin, sales. That's better. And I can't have two competing colors because that's not colorblind friendly. And I know actually with my brand colors that those are not colorblind friendly. They're going to look the same to some people. Do I want to do dark and gray, solid and dotted? Oh, I think I'm going to do a solid dotted. No, solid plus gray. Solid plus gray. And change that later. That's easy to change later. Okay. Good enough for 3 minutes. Okay. Let's see if we can tackle the next one. 3 minutes starts now. Make and model chart. Okay, declutter, delete, delete, delete. No, let's keep these. Round. Labels, no. Number. 0 decimal places. Field buttons go away. Border goes away. Font is larger, darker. If we have one brand color for this, we'll do a different brand color for this. This. Remove the gap width or shrink it to like little. And um percent of profit margin. That's what this is. Are we sorting them alphabetically or greatest to least? Greatest to least, right? Therefore, the pivot table needs to be upside down. Sort smallest to largest. Oh, Kia. Okay, that's better. Yeah. Oh, good job, ChatGPT, making up. I mean, you'd think that this is real, right? Mercedes versus BMW making some more. I don't love that this is uh, twisted vertically. And I cannot figure out an easy way to untwist that. I kind of think it's not possible because look, it says text direction is horizontal, but it's not. I wonder if you just make it so tall, if it fixes itself eventually. Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Um, I don't think we'd add labels here. I think that's too in the weeds. I think you would just keep labels down here. and let people look at the gray lines to estimate. This is desperately asking for a helper table to do a. Oh, time's up. Okay, helper table for another day. It's asking for a sunburst diagram. That's what it wants from me. Okay, this next one by salesperson. Oh, let me start the timer. Let me see what I can do in 3 minutes. Countdown starts. Okay, next brand color. This, let's zoom in so we can actually see. Declutter, remove redundancy. Reduce the gap width. That doesn't do much because it's so smushed. Maybe we do need to slice and dice by country because this is too many people. Yeah, it's just too many people. I can't imagine one person at the car manufacturer would want to look at all these people. Should we look at like the top 10? Yeah, let's look at the top 10. Yeah, top sales persons, top salespeople, top 10 salespeople. Yeah, that'll help. We don't need to look at all of them. Should we look at the top 10 and the bottom 10? Yes. Yes, we should do that. Yes, that would be more helpful, right? Can I do that with a pivot table or do I have to have a helper? Let's see. I can't do that in 3 minutes. That needs more time because I haven't done something like that before. Can I not sort, but filter? More sort options? Can I filter them? I think I can. Format, number format, sort. I think I can filter these. Refresh number, not manually like that. Can I do a, can I rank them and then make a helper table? Rank, rank them by, rank this number out of this reference. And I want them to go least to greatest so that my chart goes like that. Least to greatest is ascending, comma, 1. So this person is the worst. No, that doesn't make any sense conceptually. That's better. No. Go 0. Okay, that is person 535. Oh, time's up. I'm gonna have 3 more because I think this is important to figure out. I think this is really helpful. My brain is loving this challenge. I gotta save what I'm doing though. Let's put this here. Okay. Dollars. Not there, but there and there and there and there. Still need to adjust the data set. That's okay. And what am I going to do? I'm going to do by rank, salesperson, sum of profit margin, and I'm going to do the top 10, space, bottom 10. Top 10, bottom 10. Thing is, if this is controlled by the slicer, how do I make Excel only grab the bottom 10 numbers? Um, let's find out. Excel, tell me the biggest 10 numbers in a list with a formula. Highest 10. Yes, highest, large. Okay. Use the large function in 10 separate cells, specifying K from 1 to 10. Okay. Equals, I've never used this before. Equals large. Out of this array, I want number 1. No, I want the smallest. Wait, how did I order this? The worst, the best person is number 1. Yeah. Okay. I want actually the small. Is small a formula? Must be. Blah. No, no, no. No, it's gonna tell me rank 535. Yeah. I want the worst. How do I make do I have to sort this upside down? Um 10th place. 10th place. 10, 9, 8. I'm gonna sort these upside down, I think. Sort them. This is so beyond what the scope of a dashboard course about building dashboards with Copilot should be. Um, that's okay. This is important for Anne to know because this is the types of customizations I have to do for all of my client stuff all the time. It's these like really unique challenges that I just can't figure out right if you've got a deadline at 5 p.m. 4:59 p.m. is not the time to be figuring that out for the very first time. You have to like play with Excel all the time, challenge your brain all the time, so that later when you do have a deadline, it's just super easy. So figuring out like formulas for the first time, that like you got to do that now. Okay. I want the largest, I want the number 10 thing. Okay, I'm going to turn these upside down. I want them that way. No, because then I have to figure it out this way. No, I wanted to tell me, ooh, is this circular? What is large telling me? Let me start building the helper tables and the helper and the chart so you know what I'm doing. Okay. I want whatever that ranking is, like first is the best. And I'm looking up the ranking here. And then when I find it, just give me this person's name. And what am I dollaring? I'm dollaring the F and the C and the 209. All the red, but not all of not the A's. Okay. Veronica Gill, you are number 1. Highest profit margin for the time frame selected in the timeline slicer. You are number 1, Veronica. This is your profit margin. That's the top 10. How do I get the bottom 10? I don't know. Um, it needs to be the bottom 10. It needs to be and then these get graphed. Ooh, but you know what? No, no, no. Let me put these side by side. Let's concatenate so we know their ranking. Graph label, graph label. It's going to be the rank and a parentheses and their name. Yeah, that's more useful. So that it's dynamic, and that's going to just say that. It's going to say that. Oops, too far. And this is what's going to be graphed once the numbers are correct. Insert a chart. That would only have 10 people, right? Okay, now, not that. Um, Now flippy flip. Data sort by the order from largest to smallest. Flip the whole thing upside down so that my chart is right side up. Okay. This is not correct yet. I need to do a formula to fill these in. I'm gonna do it manually for now and highlight it for myself to know I need to, no, 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 not these two, not these, these. This needs to be a formula. And then this I'm gonna gray because this is what feeds into the chart directly so I can remember. And what's my worst one? Right now I have 535. So I want these bottom 10. Oh, oh, because it's a rank formula. Because I need to paste the values. And I want these to go upside down, right? Sort by the rank, sort them the other way. But the worst person at the top of the table, therefore at the bottom of the chart. Okay, and then this, that needs to have a formula in it because otherwise the timeline won't work. Okay, but oh, those are so small. Shoot, I forgot about that. Forgot that could be a thing. However, I still need to finish fictionalizing my data set. Not fictionalizing it, but like it is fictional. I need to re-fictionalize it and make up fewer people. Like Robert sold a bunch of cars and like Stanley sold a bunch of cars. Stanley sold all those. Priscilla, yeah. I wish I would have thought to ask ChatGPT about this from the get-go, but I didn't. Ugh. See how now because there's not 535 salespeople, see because it's hard coded, it doesn't work. And then who's number one? Where'd number one go? Oh, the grand total. Because I need to remove the total from the pivot table. Okay. What is my 375 people? Okay. Oh, I'm used to a mouse. My trackpad's throwing me off. What are the worst numbers here now? Oh my gosh, I know how I can do this. This is so backwards. This is so backwards. Um, I can just get the max of this list, and then I can just minus one. Good enough. Problem solved. It's dynamic now. Okay. Let's add another blank row here. Let's format this one now. Delete. Larger, darker. Um, what color are we on? That brand color? Oh, I forgot a cell. It has the word top 10. Why is it not showing up? Oh, wait, that's correct, isn't it? Why am I not? Oh, because it's too smushed? Why is the word top 10 not showing up there? Also, why is this? Oh, because yeah, it's still too smushed. Needs to be that tall. Okay. Honestly, these should just be built with data bars. They shouldn't like formulas within the cells. It should be built within the cell. It shouldn't be a chart because then it's like right aligned. It should be left aligned. The labels could be better if it was like just living. Anyway, that's an issue for another day. Cut. Oops, I don't need to cut. I can just copy. What are we calling this? Top and bottom salespeople? Right. Salespeople. Top 10 and bottom 10 sales people by profit margin. Um, the takeaway sentence could be something like, let's call out the winner here. Let's call out the winner. Where is my pivot? Let's figure out How many salespeople? Maybe I'll just make another helper right here. Count of salespeople. Let's highlight this so I remember it is important. Is that gray? No. Like that. Count A of this or any of these columns, doesn't matter. Of 374 total salespeople. Stanley was our top performer. Not one Stanley Barnes. Oh, what and not Barnes Stanley. I want him to be text splitted. Top salesperson. Let's do this in stages. So it is this person. Text splitted. We're going to do this text, and the delimiter is a comma and a space. Barnes Stanley, concatenated Stanley Barnes. Stanley Barnes goes into our takeaway. Stanley Barnes. This should all be dynamic. Um, let's smush it a little bit. Who is it now? It's not Stanley. Somebody else. Now it's 240 salespeople as Daniel Adams. In that time frame, there were not bottom 10. Were there only 10 salespeople in this time frame? I guess so. That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. Oh, it's because I've got NAs. I got confused. Okay. Can I do an if NA with a rank? I've never done that. If NA, then leave it blank. Call it 0. Call it 0. Okay, there we go. Daniel Adams was our top performer. Bottom 10 little blips. I don't even know if that's helpful. Maybe these charts have to be a top and bottom separate so that they can have their own scale. Like the top one ranges from whatever, 0 to 200,000. And the bottom one goes to something else. Because these are all pretty bottom performers. I mean, it's like they all need help. Okay. I've spent way more time on this than I wanted to, but that's okay. It has to be solved eventually. Why not tonight? Let's do by country. And what are we doing here? I started the timer. Let's declutter. And what else are we doing? Let's do another brand color here. And make it legible. Oops, brand color here. I think my brain's shutting down because it's not working very fast right now. I'm actually having to think. Not too much. Too much thinking. Maybe we'll put this on the top because otherwise it's taking up too much space at the bottom. And then I don't want this to say sum of profit margin because then you see a min and a max. I think that's confusing. I wish you could make this wider. Wouldn't that be nice? Sum of profit margin. You know what? I'm going to add that to my list. Um, where is my wish list? If I worked at Microsoft. I'm afraid to open that on a live stream. Here's a newer one. Wish list for Excel. Okay. Maps. Make the legend box adjustable. Height, width, like it is for older chart types. Okay. Um, I think the only thing that's not done here is the layout. Are these both going to be long charts? Should this chart really be one of these? Should this chart really be, it should really not be all bar charts because people get so bored of bar charts. It should be a sunburst. Actually, I do have a real foundation client where we need to do a sunburst. It's not makes and models of cars, but it is categories and subcategories. And it's on my to-do list. Literally, it's literally on my on my to-do list for this week to figure out how to do a sunburst diagram with the helper table. So let me just try that real quick because the thing is that affects the layout. The layout here is not solved. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is like this is a rectangle. This is a rectangle. Well, it's kind of squarish now. It could be tall. It can be wider. This is a long chart as is. Um, does this need to be a long chart or should this be a different chart type? Like I'm trying to figure out the spacing of these. I think it's not a bar chart. Let me save this one over here just in case future Anne changes her mind when I sleep on it. Okay. And let's see. Let's make another table. Sunburst helper. It needs to look, I'll show you. It's funny. I was debating going to the gym tonight and running on the treadmill for like 30 or 60 minutes, but I decided I was too jet lagged and that wasn't fair to my body. But so instead, I'm just making my not jet lagged. Jet lagged implies a big time zone difference. I think I'm only at a 2 or 3 hour difference here. Three? I don't know. I think I'm at a 2 hour time difference. It's because I have 4 hours of sleep. So whatever that word, sleep deprived. um, and I knew I was too sleep deprived to go to the gym. But still I'm making my brain do a workout. So, oh well. Okay, this is what a sunburst looks like. It's a donut with another donut. But some of these, like twig 3, may not have leaves. This is obviously a fake one. Branches, twigs, leaves. In the car example, we would only have branches and twigs. Categories, subcategories, we would not also have leaves. And we would have, and every branch would have twigs. Ford and Mustang. It wouldn't be just a make. It would be a make and model for every single one. So it would truly look like a donut more. It wouldn't be like little chunks sticking out and more of like a, it wouldn't look like a sunburst. It would look like two donuts. This is another example. This is not my these might have been my real business breakdowns a few years ago when I made this example. These percentages are not accurate now, but it's like I do consulting. Out of consulting, I do these things. Out of training, I do these things, etc. This is like a pretend grant making example. Out of the children and families grants, they also do early childhood. Sunburst versus tree map. Let me show you though. I think the tables have to be set up the same way. Let me copy and paste the cheat sheet. Copy. Where am I? I'm here. What am I on? I'm on this one. You know what? Maybe I'll put it right here. No, let's put it right here. This is going to be make model. We're not going to have those. And this is going to be what? Percent of profit margin? And the makes are, I think I can basically turn my pivot table into this. Do I have to index match it though to make sure it's dynamic? Design, report layout, outline. I think I don't need that space there though. It's a really long helper. I've never done a sunburst like this, not linked to a dashboard, not so that it's dynamic. Enough space? Yeah, okay, phew. And then I think, oh, I think I shouldn't include these. I think otherwise it gets confused. The subtotals, these subtotals need to go away. Design, subtotals, do not show them. Technically, I don't think I want this space here. I think I need the word Kia to go right there. Let's see what it does. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. So insert a sunburst. Okay. But that's a million slices and kind of interesting, but it's kind of terrible looking. Oh, these need to be formulas. Um, can I just look up the model name? Yeah, I can just look up the model name. That, I think so. Ah, I think this word has to go there. Yeah. See how something just changed? Kia, where are you? Are you one of these? Yeah, it doesn't know how to group these because the word's in the wrong spot. You put it here, it knows that's Kia, that's the branch, and this is the twig now. What about Volkswagen? It knows that Volkswagen goes with these. Atlas, Passat. Is it ordering these least to greatest? It is. Oh, how smart. Tiguan, Jetta, Golf. Wow. I didn't know it could do that. Huh. Um, this is where I'm kind of like, oh man, it's a fake chat GPT made data set. But because in real life, I don't think each of these I don't think they'd be equal slivers. I don't think. I've never seen real car sales data, but I think some would be really big and some would be smaller. Wouldn't you have some makes and models that are like just outperform the others? Wouldn't you? Yeah. Wonder if we should slice by car type. Kind of think we should. Insert slicer, not by make and model. Maybe just make. I don't know where to put this. Over here. Let's connect it to everything though. All three KPIs, all four other pivots. Speaking of ChatGPT, did Copilot find my data set? It did not. So I've been trying to use Copilot to make a pretend data set since 6:30 p.m. Idaho time. So it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it can't. Being a really rude customer, aren't I? How much longer do you ask me? Um, I'm gonna delete this one. And where is our sunburst? I think the sunburst is gonna be just, it's gonna get like points for being interesting. This one is okay, right? No, it is. It's doing something. I think I think it's doing something. Maybe it's the same. Maybe where these go, maybe the placement doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter. Okay. Main thing is though, to fit all the labels, it has to be like Wonko size. So I don't know if that's gonna be a winner. Maybe it's not. I mean, I don't know. Can I just like put it in the middle for now? It's actually it's not that much bigger than the others. Hmm. It's so colorful though. Do you see how it gets all the visual attention? And then you really don't see these little line charts. Um, it's suddenly storming outside the hotel room and the branches are hitting the window. It's creepy. It's like a horror story. Let me show you. Can you see this? I don't I don't think you can hear it, but it's like okay, that is a sign that, it's almost 9 o'clock at night. So whatever time Eastern, 11 or 12, too late. So I'm gonna stop working on this. I think we did good. Oh, let me do a recap though, because I do like to always include the recap when I can, like the last 2 minutes. So I can just tell people like, go watch the last 2 minutes. So where we started was Anna Emery is building another dashboard course with another example. This one's going to be about car sales. And I had tried making a data set myself, but I couldn't think of many makes and models. So I used ChatGPT to generate a pretend data set for me, which took less than a minute for ChatGPT to give me an Excel file. I did since then adjust the dates. I initially asked for 2010 to 2025 dates, but then I adjusted it to make it smaller. I might expand it again. That's easy to adjust. I should have asked for fewer salespeople so that it could, so it could be like the same person making multiple sales instead of all these. And there's just too many different salespeople. So I still need to adjust that a little bit, but we've got the data set. It feeds into all sorts of pivot tables like this. One pivot table per KPI or chart or map per visual. So we've got 3 KPIs for regular charts and maps. So 7 pivot tables. Some of these also have helper tables to get the graph to look like exactly what we want. For example, the helper table I was just building so that we can maybe make a sunburst. Or where's another helper table? The ranking one. I probably spent 10 or 15 minutes fiddling with this one so we could see like the top 10 salespeople and the bottom 10. TBD if I keep that one though. And then where's another one? By country, way down here. Country also has a uh, helper table. But look how I removed and deleted cells. So that's why that's just a little funny looking. That's okay. What is working on here? So things that are working are we currently have 2 different slicers, a regular slicer and a timeline slicer. I don't know where those are going to go because the timeline slicer needs to be like really wide. It needs to be really, really wide. So maybe this one goes up here or something. Maybe that goes in 2 columns like that, like TBD. Um, I don't know where the KPIs go. They obviously need more breathing room. I thought about putting them over here. Maybe they haven't been like designed at all, have they? Maybe they look like that and maybe they have some like something standing out behind them. I don't know. That's so ugly. We've got an overtime graph where I put profit margin and the sales in together and a sunburst of the make and model, like which one made the most profit, the salespeople by profit margin, the country by profit margin. So yeah, what I'm still playing around with is like figuring out if these are the chart types I'm going to keep, and if so, how big they need to be. Like, see how this one needs to be big? And this one also probably needs to be big. This one needs to be tall. And this one needs to be, if I just only showed the top 10 here instead of the bottom 10, that would solve like all the problems. Because then I'd have four square blocks and it could just be a layout like that. I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on that. I'm not recording this course for I don't know if I'll do it in June, maybe July. Kind of depends like how quickly I solve all these hurdles. Let's see. I think that's it. How about I'm talking to you like this for hours? All right, good night. See you later. Bye.